Hello everybody in YouTube land. Today we're going to be changing the clutch and the speedometer cable on this 1981 Kawasaki KZ 750 LTD. First off, let me start by saying I'm sorry if I sound like crap. My voice is all screwed up right now. Allergies have got to me, it's my sinus passages and everything. Today was a really bad day with pollen being springtime, so I've had to wait until it got later in the evening. As you can tell by the window over there, it's not very early. And we're about to get some rain, and I'm hoping the rain will help my pollen. But I got the garage closed. I've let it settle in here. Sorry, it's been a rough day. So I'm about to sneeze here too before too long. But anyway, let's move on to replacing the clutch on your Kawasaki KZ 750 LTD. Now, first off, let me specify, when you're going to order your new parts, if you use Bike Bandit, eBay, whatever, be very careful about what you use. The first time I actually ordered my parts, I got the wrong ones, and let me spread some light on the subject. Use my little work computer get-up I got going on over here. This right here is the clutch cable. Yes, this is the clutch cable I ordered originally. Now this has the part number K288024. That's K28-8024. K is in Kawasaki. And what this is, this cable right here does not fit the 750. This fits the 550, the 1000, the GPZ, the 1100, and other various models. It does not work on the 750, so don't even try it on the 750. Same thing goes with the speedometer cable, which I got originally with the part number K28-9013. Use it right there, K28-9013. Anyway, once again, these two cables are for the 550, the 4-something, the 1000, the 1100, and some of the GPZ models. It will not work on the 750 LTD, and the reason I say this is they have the proper hookups, they have all the proper channel routing. They'll follow in the same channel route, they're the same size. They're not the same length, though. Both the clutch cable and the speedometer cable, the clutch cable lacks about 6.5 to 8 inches to properly fit. Otherwise, you won't be able to turn right. That's how tight it is. And the speedometer cable won't go on there either, because if you were to go over a bump and the suspension go down and come back up, then it would just snap the cable or tear it out of the bottom of the housing down there. So make sure, once again, part number for the speedometer K28-9013, and for the clutch K28-8024. Those are the wrong ones. Alright. The one for this bike. This is what came in today. This one is the right one. This one, clutch cable, once again, it's the same place. It's just the proper one. Like I said, they'll give you 2 different options for each one, 2 to 3. And this one is the one that worked. Pick the longest one. It's easier to have one that's too long than not long enough. And the part number on this one is K28-8035. That's K28-8035, and that is the clutch cable. And this is the one that you will more than likely need if you have a 750 LTD. And for the speedometer, it is still over here. And the speedometer one is K28-9031. And the only difference between this one and the other one is the one that is too small ends with 13. The one that is proper size for this bike ends in 31. So you want the last 2 digits 31 and $35 if you have a 750 LTD. Like I said, some people might be like, oh, well, maybe I can order the one for the 550. It's just about the same bike. No, please save yourself a lot of hassle and go ahead and get the one for this bike. Go ahead and search a little bit harder, dig a little bit deeper, and don't just guess on which one. I gave you the part numbers. There is no reason you shouldn't be able to find it now. 750 LTD. Part numbers 31, 35. Done. Okay, now, moving on. To disassemble, or to get to the area where your clutch cable, where it hooks to the engine, is housed. Come on. Alright. Get down there on the ground. Alright, sorry about that. Right here on the side of the motor, you have... Stupid light. Okay, that's going to have to do... Looks like it's going to work fine, actually. Alright. On the side over here, you have this case, which kind of looks like that when it's bolted on. Now, to remove this case, you have you have a bolt there, there, and there, and that's all on the actual casing itself. And if I'm not mistaken, those were 10 millimeter, I think. Yes, 10 millimeter. You got 4 10 millimeter bolts that actually hold the casing on. And also, to take the casing off, you have to take off the gear selector, which I have actually put back on here because I forgot to put it in neutral, and I was unable to roll it from over there, so I've got to take that back off now. I'm just going to show you. I think that is also a 10 millimeter. Yeah, that seems to be good. 10 millimeter on that too. So 5 10 millimeter bolts. That one on the that one on the gear shifter, and then the 4 around it, which you can see one of them is down here. One of them's right there. You have another one right there, and then you have those 2 up here. That one there and there, which I have just stuck back in their little homes because this bike sat here for a couple days while I was waiting on parts, and I didn't want to lose any other nuts and bolts. So it's very good if the bike's going to sit there to pop those off. Another thing, before you can take the case all the way off, this little water cover, you know, air water cover debris catcher looking thing, has to come off. And what this does, I think this is also 10 millimeter. Yeah, so I think we're up to like 7 10 millimeter bolts now. There's one right here, and the other one is way back up in there, which, if you have smaller hands, isn't too big of a problem. My hands are actually small enough I can get up in there fairly easy and wiggle that bad boy out of there. And then what this does is this covers the starter, which you see here. And that's pretty much all there is to get into the back end of your starter. So there's your starter. You have to take that plate off to get this thing off, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know of another way around it. You might not have to, but I did, made it easier. It's not that big of a deal. 10 millimeter wrench, pop them bolts right out, you're good to go. Alright, now, unhooking the clutch cable off of this is very simple, if I can remember correctly. All you really have to do is pull the tension out of it. You can pick this piece straight up and out of there. Pull the side of the cable that's got the little metal piece on the end of it. Oh, I'm about to sneeze. Sorry about that. Pull it out of there. You can see the groove. It pulls out. Work the spring off. There will be a spring hook to the other side of the cable. Pull the spring off. Pull the pin out. And then the clutch cable will fall right out. And that's all there is to getting it out from there. Now, you really can't put this in the wrong way. It really only goes in one way without looking stupid. So, like I said, you can put it in one way, and that's pretty much it. And it should look something like that, if I'm not mistaken, to where it's set up pretty good. Alright, I'm about to sneeze again. And then up here on your lever, remove the screw all the way out to where you can pull it and wiggle it off the side. And then just pull the cable up around here and out of there. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And then there's going to be a clamp here and one farther back down up somewhere along in there. It just holds around the frame here to help keep the cable from moving around and bumping stuff, you know. So just pop them babies off and you're good to go. Alright, I'm going to start feeding the new cable on now. Okay, another little quick tip before I completely put this back together that I thought I should mention. You see this one right here, the dirty looking one out of the two, is the original one that was on the bike. Okay, you see this is an adjustment. Go ahead and try to get those adjusted about the same on the new cable as it was on the old one. I'm going to set this down for a second and try to line those two up. Go ahead and try to get those looking the same that way, so because that measurement right there was what your bike was running with before, therefore that's probably about accurate unless you were having problems with the clutch slipping. If the clutch was slipping a little bit, you can either bring this screw in some more or you can adjust it on the lever itself. But mine was doing okay, so I'm going to leave mine where it was, which is right here. And don't worry about all the slack in the cable. That's just from where it's not pulled out and hooked up. So just thought I'd tell you that right quick before I put the cable on and you can't see this anymore. Try to get those about the same width, separated right there. So hopefully it'll be back to about the proper adjustment, and then you can just adjust it from the cable on the lever. Alright. Here's a quick shot of the new cable in place. You have the pin down in there. Get the cable strung through there. And I have the spring back on it. There should have been a spring on there. Make sure the spring's on there. Pull it through. And the best way to keep it from being floppy down in there is to make sure all the tension is pulled through. And gently hook a pair of channel locks to that. Just enough to where it won't let the cable move in and out. But not any tight to where it's going to damage the cable itself. Sorry y'all about my allergies. I'm telling y'all. They are killing me. Yeah, you can like this video if your allergies are killing you too. This summer is freaking sucking so far. Spring, I should say. Anyway. Yep, there's the cable. It's in place. It's all good to go. Make sure you don't pull it too far out to where it pushes out and engages the clutch. It'll make it a lot more difficult to go back on. Alright, guys. Alright, so I got it all buttoned back up. Everything tightened back down good. And do yourself a favor, make sure you get this thing tightened down. Not super tight, but pretty darn tight. All these bolts right here, the two up there and the one in each corner. Because you got to think all the pressure pushing in to disengage that clutch. You know, you don't want anything to be loose at all. You want all your resistance to be able to move like it should. And nothing, you know, be loose, therefore affecting the clutch wear and performance of the bike. Another thing, when you're going to put your shifter back on, the best way to figure out where you want it and where it's going to be most comfortable for you is, I forgot to mention, you have to take this foot peg off to get the case on and off. Otherwise it'll bump right here when the bottom side of the case pulls out. And those are, that's a 12. Two 12-inch bolts right here, and then you have two of these washers that go over that to cap it on to hold the rubber bushing in place. Anyway, like I was saying, the best way to figure out where you want the cable, the shifter, before you just slap it back on there and then go to get on the bike and it feels weird, the best thing you can do is to put the peg on and barely tighten down one of the bolts, put the peg on and slide the shifter into place about where you think it needs to be, and then sit on the bike and put it in a neutral one first to see where it's comfortable for you. That way, so you get a good idea as to where it is, and if it's not where you want it to go before you get it, like I said, all buttoned back up, and then you realize, and then it's, you know, going to be a hassle to take it back off or figure out why it's so awkward feeling to shift down or shift up. So go ahead and take the time to work all the bugs out now while you can. And yeah, so stay tuned. Hold up.